My name's Micah, this is Ryan, this is Hershey, and this is our tiny home Wanderlust. It was built by Indigo River Tiny Homes in Garland, and we've been living here for about a month. Right when you walk in the door, you walk right into our kitchen. Countertops are a butcher block. I wanted to make sure that we always had a place to actually sit at a table and eat as a family. So by creating this in, we were able to accomplish both having an eat-in space as well as extra counter space for food prep. And then it also allowed me to create more storage on the other side for plates. One of my concerns when I was building the tiny house is I still wanted to have a large sink. I chose to get rid of the dishwasher because we typically don't need one with just two humans. I just wanted a big sink so that I could easily wash animals and also wash dishes. It is an apartment size refrigerator, but for us that's more than plenty of space. Also in the kitchen, as you drop below the refrigerator, you've got storage that pulls out. The goal in here was zero wasted space, so we built as much in as we could all the way down to the floorboards. We've turned these up here into our pantry. We've also turned one large drawer into our pantry. Then we keep our pots and pans down below, silverware here. By creating storage within the stairs, you've got deep drawers that go all the way back that allow for a lot of storage of all sorts of different items. And then down below, I've got plenty of storage for tall items here. The water heater does run off of a propane tank, but everything else is electric because here where we're living, we do have to plug into the grid. I finally am happy with the amount of natural light I have coming into my home. As we start to get window coverings on them that allow more light through but still allow for privacy, we have all the light that we need. Got it in our minds that we were going to do it. We put our home on the market, we downsized. That was the easy part. Our home sold very quickly, a little too quickly. The biggest challenge was actually living in temporary living situations while waiting for the tiny itself to be completed, and then also waiting for the land that we were going to put it on to be ready. So for us, the biggest issue was the land, and waiting for the land created a good 6 months where we were living in temporary living situations. That was the most challenging part, to know that your home is done and ready for you to live in, but you can't live in it because you're waiting for the land to be ready. Our initial goal was to create a built-in couch with as much storage below as possible. The couch does push in with a goal of it then sliding out so that there's enough space for sleeping and sleepovers. So I have a pre-planned place to hide my internet and modem services down here. There's plugs built in below. I've got plenty of extra storage for blankets and bedding, pillows, and a slow cooker also lives down there. So it really solved a lot of storage issues. The TV here, we love to watch movies. So we do actually use the TV pretty frequently. We like to pile in here and just lounge around and be able to watch movies. Once we have internet, that's still a work in progress, then we also stream most of our entertainment. So we're excited for when that happens. In all of the rooms, you've got the lights that are recessed up into the ceiling, but they can all dim down to any level that you want them. So, for example, on movie night, you can still get a nice glow and you can still see while you're moving around, but they can go down pretty low all the way up to fully bright. The fan is actually here. One thing I didn't think of with this drop down headspace and the fan that's above you in the kitchen was that ventilation wasn't actually moving into this area. So if it's a time of year when it's really hot or really cool outside and we don't want to open the windows, we weren't really getting a lot of air movement over here. So this was a purchase after a movie night where we were pretty stuffy to solve that problem. I wanted to make sure we had built-in bookshelves for games, movies.
Having the big windows, because at first, like, we weren't sure if we wanted to do like just one or two, and we talked to our builder and he said two, and I really like how much natural light we get.
I love the smell of the pine. It should last me many, many years, but sitting in here and just being able to smell that pine is probably my favorite thing. I think a lot of people assume that people that choose to live in tiny homes are, for lack of a better word, different or not like them. But I can tell you, we're all normal people that are just looking for different avenues to achieve the same goals.
A lot of kids at my school didn't know what a tiny house was, and so a lot of them thought it was kind of like a shed, I think. Because when they would draw tiny houses, they would always draw it like a shed, and so that they don't get how like big it actually is compared to like what you just picture in your head as like a tiny house.
Our bathroom, we do have a standard size tub, toilet, vanity. We've also got a washer dryer unit here, and then additional storage. We were very, very much focused on storage here. The community that we are living in requires us to be able to plug into traditional city water. So this community would not allow composting toilets or anything other than a traditional standard toilet. So that is what determined that decision there. If I didn't live in this community, I would honestly probably do something more along the lines of a composting toilet. In building this, a traditional size tub was very important to me, having a child and a dog that both I need to bathe. I needed something that was big enough to accommodate a dog trying to escape and also just to be able to take a good bath. In traditional homes, there's typically yards and all sorts of extra spaces for animals, so we had to be much more intentional with how we did things to make sure that all of our needs were met.
We did a ladder because since we have a cat, my cat doesn't really like having the dog being able to get it to me, because like my cat's sometimes a little selfish and only wants like to be able to get to me and not him too. And also the dog likes to destroy a lot of my things, so we thought it would be good to keep the dog out of my loft. I have plenty of shelves that we originally had my clothes on, but I had too many clothes, so we decided we were gonna make some like racks so we can hang my clothes. And I have a desk that I have my computer on mainly for homework, because we do a lot of online homework at my school. My favorite part would have to be my big window, because I really like natural light. It turned out that I found a lot of pictures in a box, and I used my clothespins and I started to pin them all up on there. Behind my clothes on this side, we have a little hole for my cat to come through from his catwalk.
When we built this house, one of our goals was to create space for the animals and also to create separate space for both the cat and the dog. We have a dog that really loves our cat, but a cat that really does not like our dog. So in doing so, the dog can completely access my side, the cat can use either the ladder or the catwalk to directly access my daughter's side. It allows the cat to jump down on top of the refrigerator. We do have to feed the cat on top of the refrigerator because the dog otherwise will eat all the cat's food. This is actually my loft, and both myself and the dog do sleep up here. One of the things that was important to me in building this loft is that I would be able to stand directly up in my loft before climbing into bed. We also up here built in additional storage. Again, we've got storage units back here. We've got a shelf back behind as a headboard, and then there's storage below that as well. And we've got a built-in wardrobe to where I can hang items, and then plenty of drawer space. It's a queen size bed. The one thing I didn't think about in building this loft was when I did all the measurements for climbing in, I didn't think about how high the bed would make it once it was on top of it. So I did have to invest in a stool to be able to make it on top of the bed. So on the back of our tiny home here, we have a shed, for lack of a better word. Inside here is where we store our propane, our hot water tank, our backup propane, and then we also have storage and some shelves for any other items that we would typically keep outdoors. So we've got storage for all of that back here. You expose yourself to like-minded people that understand why you're doing what you're doing, and we have a support system and a unique community feel that we've never had in any traditional home. One of my long-term thoughts with this is to, depending on what she chooses to do when she's an adult, is being able to hand the tiny house down to her as I see them becoming more socially acceptable and easier to find places to park them, is a way for her to start off her adult life in a way of having her own space, but not racking up a bunch of debt at the same time. If you want to see more of our photos or follow us along on our journey, we can be found on Instagram and also TikTok. It is wanderlust, WANDER, lust, LUST, _tiny home, on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for coming by. You are welcome anytime.